Welcome to another episode of the Sustainable Finance web series. During the course of 5 episodes, I will share some insights on several EU initiatives which intend to accelerate the transition towards a climate-neutral economy. But let's start with a quick recap of the previous episode, in which we talked about the EU Sustainable Finance Package. This aims to entirely transition the current economy towards a climate-neutral economy through a set of legislative packages which intend to support economic growth while reducing the negative impacts on ESG or environmental, social and governance aspects by also increasing transparency of sustainability information by making them consistent, comparable and mandatory, but also by classifying those economic activities that are defined as sustainable. In the end, the EU Sustainable Finance Package intends to benefit those stakeholders whose behavior will support or not achieving the overall EU Green Deal objectives, such as citizens or investors and business. In this episode, we'll dive deeper into the EU Taxonomy, a crucial part of the Sustainable Finance Package. But what exactly is this taxonomy? Well, it's a classification tool aimed at investors, companies, and financial institutions, which defines the environmental performance of economic activities across a wide range of industries and sets requirements which corporate activities must meet to be considered as sustainable. It basically uses 3 pillars referred to as technical screening criteria to determine if an activity qualifies as both environmentally and socially sustainable. The first pillar sets performance thresholds for economic activities that make a significant contribution to one of the 6 environmental objectives of the EU Taxonomy, which are, first of all, climate change mitigation, climate change adoption, pollution prevention, sustainable use of water and marine resources, circular economy, and a healthy ecosystem. The second pillar requires proof that these economic activities do not materially harm the other 5 environmental objectives unassociated with the activity. And last but not least, the third and final pillar requires proof that these economic activities meet minimum social safeguards by ensuring social sustainability is maintained by the company for all of its stakeholders, including the communities it is involved in. These are defined in the OECD guidelines, the UN Guiding Principles, the ILO Declaration on Fundamental Rights and Principles at Work, and the International Bill of Human Rights. But why is the EU taxonomy important? Well, basically, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And this is exactly what the EU taxonomy does. It enables us to consistently measure the specific impacts that individual economic activities and investments have on achieving environmental objectives established by the Paris Agreement, the EU Green Deal, and virtually any other regionally specific objectives that may be put in place in the future. With the common framework and the quantification the taxonomy provides companies with a way to integrate clear ESG factors into strategy and policy, set measurable objectives to achieve specific sustainability objectives, and communicate also on those achievements to all stakeholders. It also provides management to make informed business and investment decisions by overlaying sustainability factors on fundamental financial and risk components. Commercial and financial institutions can create truly sustainable products, and investors, both on retail and institutional side, can perform quantitative comparative analysis of investment opportunities to support investment and portfolio allocation decisions. But basically, the delegated acts containing technical screening criteria will be developed in 2 phases. The first technical screening criteria for activities which substantially contribute to climate change mitigation or adaptation entered into application by the end of 2021 and thus are requiring disclosure from 2022. The second set of technical screening criteria, which cover economic activities substantially contributing to the other 4 environmental objectives, so pollution prevention, sustainable use of water and marine resources, circular economy, and a healthy ecosystem, those will enter into application by the end of 2022 and thus require disclosure from 2023. But who is truly impacted? Well, basically everybody will benefit from using the EU taxonomy, but it will be only mandatory for 2 types of institutions. First of all, large corporates in the EU with more than 500 employees that are already required to comply with NFRD or the Non-Financial Reporting Directive. For those corporates, this means applying technical screening criteria related to the company's activities to identify the portion of capital expenditure, operating expenses, and turnover that is aligned with environmentally sustainable activities. The second are financial institutions issuing or distributing any type of financial product within the EU. Yes, even if those products are marked green. Financial institutions such as asset managers, pensions, and insurance funds that distribute or market products that invest in environmentally sustainable activities will need to disclose the proportion of each product that is invested in those ESG activities. But also, of course, all EU member states must incorporate the taxonomy into rules and regulation regarding standards, labels for green and sustainable financial products and instruments. But if it's not mandatory to you, why should you care at this point? Well, although the main workload for implementation will be for financial institutions and other capital providers, they will still require data points, and those data points are needed from companies to whom they deliver capital. And it is estimated today that more than 20,000 companies in the EU are likely to be asked for these data points soon, as the implementation date for financial institutions is already passed. Companies simply need to be ready to provide answers to the requirements of the taxonomy. So preparation is key. This seems like a lot of work, so there's a lot of challenges to overcome, but there's 2 very big ones. Without a question, the biggest challenge is data. More specifically, the data challenge includes a lack of available data that is non-standardized, and the cost and effort required to build the tools to create, access, transform, and manage the data. Another challenge to consider is a lack of available ESG resources. As the EU taxonomy and sustainability initiatives in general are relatively new, finding qualified, experienced resources is not easy. A recommended approach is to addressing this issue is upskilling existing staff. Remember, sustainability is not about creating a standalone function. It is about incorporating a sustainability mindset into all the areas of a company. It will be more beneficial to train existing resources in sustainability topics than hire sustainability experts that don't understand the core of a business. So, what are the main takeaways? Basically, the EU taxonomy is a type of an encyclopedia of economic activities that have a direct material impact on climate change mitigation and transition. It also provides assessment criteria and logic to direct investment towards sustainable projects and activities to achieve the objectives of the EU Green Deal. It also enables the elimination of greenwashing, where companies market activities or investments as sustainable without actually making material sustainable impact. I want to thank you for listening to this episode of the Sustainable Finance web series. Make sure to listen to the next one on the CSRD or Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. Thank you.